My name is Milo Lynch, and this is my project, Thinking Outside the Box, advised by Gary Parker. So for the last 2-ish months, I've been locking my computer inside a box every night. And here's a video of what that looks like.
So it unlocks on top, and then there's a latch here, and you can slide this thing off.
And so the natural question might be, why do I do this? And to answer that question, we have to kind of look at how I got here. So when I entered college, I went to Santa Cruz, California as a game design major. And while I learned that game design was not for me, there was a design textbook called Don't Make Me Think, and that name really stuck with me. And so COVID hit, I transferred schools, I came to Con, and I entered into the Ammerman Center. And in the gateway course for the Ammerman Center, we watched The Social Dilemma. And The Social Dilemma is a movie that talks about how social media can be addicting and how the companies that make these technologies profit the more people use them. And so that was especially interesting for me because I had more of a background in how that software actually works. And so that transitioned into my junior seminar course where I got to kind of think about this process a little bit more fully. And I came up with this idea of the modern day Plato's Cave. And so Plato's Cave is an allegory for controlling someone's perception of reality. But it comes from the time of Plato, when technology is ancient. So it's not really very impressive. And it's ridiculous that you could do that with fire and shadows. But you take this and put it in a modern context and it becomes much darker. In particular, the idea of entering and leaving the cave is a really hard thing to do, like physically, but in a modern context, it's just picking up and putting down the phone. And so an example of how the cave entrance can be made invisible is in this video. And so you're gonna see that the first time I open my phone, I open to my home screen, and then I choose to go on Instagram, and I can use Instagram for however long I want, and I get somewhere. But then I close my phone, I'm doing something else, and who knows how long it takes. As long as my phone doesn't die, when I reopen my phone, I don't go to my home screen. I go right back to where I was on Instagram. It takes away that choice, and I don't even realize that that might have happened. So this is something that was really important for me, and there's lots of software tricks like this. And so I wanted to pull from outside resources to make this stop happening for me. And while I could talk about these texts forever, the important one is this idea of atomic habits, which says that a habit for like 2 minutes is pretty easy to do, but once a habit takes longer than 2 minutes, it can be pretty hard to do. And so I tried to take this idea and make it so going on to software that could be tricky would take at least longer than 2 minutes. And I got to start trying to implement this in software during my summer internship where I was working on making Chrome extensions. And over the summer, I couldn't quite get all what I wanted feature-wise because I was learning how to make a Chrome extension, how to work with the APIs, how to publish a Chrome extension, all sorts of stuff. This became my CS research project for this semester, and now I do actually have a published Chrome extension that can block websites, kind of the way I want. At the end of this internship, I took courses at the Center for Humane Technology online, and that center is the same people that made that movie, The Social Dilemma, and there was a lot in there that I loved, but this graph, while a little confusing, was really impactful for me, and what it basically is saying is a design change, making better software, is a very low-level change. It's not going to change much, and there's larger ways to impact the system, and so, well, at first I was very bothered by this. I eventually kind of accepted it, and I decided I wanted to kind of see how I could jump up and get to a higher level of impact on this graph. And that led me to my guiding question for this semester, which is, what if technology was inherently social? And what this means to me is technology for me is at its best when I'm using it either in person with someone else, like we're playing a video game together, or I'm using technology to directly interact with someone who's far away. So like FaceTiming someone, a friend, or being online with them. And ironically, this means by this definition, most of the time, social media does not meet the qualifications for being social. And so how I approach this. And so these are the two main tools I used for this semester. So this password cut in half, that's a really long password that I use, that I have to type in every time I want to use my computer to play a game. And it blocks all my stuff, and I only have it on this flashcard. And I actually give it to a friend. And so whenever I want to play a game, I have to go to my friend and ask him if I can get the flashcard. The reason why it's cut in half is I had an idea that maybe I'd give it to multiple friends, and I have to ask multiple people. I haven't done that this semester, but it's still an idea. And then the other thing, this is my daily planner, and that key that you see in the daily planner is the key I used to unlock the lockbox in that earlier video. And also, the reason why I have the key in the daily planner is in the daily planner, I also try to log whenever I'm using my computer and how long I'm using it for. So what are the results of this? So this is the graph of me, of how much screen time I had from the beginning of this semester in early August to basically like 2 weeks ago. And it's a little confusing to read, but basically what it's saying is this 200, 400, 600, this is all in minutes. And so it roughly means 200 is about 3 hours, 600 is 10 hours, and you can kind of see the chart. And so for the first about 6 weeks, I was having screen time in a pretty regular way where I wasn't really doing it during the week. And then over the weekend, I want to play a video game with my friend, and I would get my password from my friend, and then I would use it. Then I actually got injured in my wrists for a little while, and so that kind of transitioned to this month-long where I really had less than an hour of screen time a day because I got out of the habit of doing it, and I also couldn't. But importantly, when fall break happened, my friend left town for a couple days, and so he gave me back my password. So I just had it on me, and I no longer need to ask my friend to do it. And you see that without the system in place, things went bad. And so what this is actually saying is I had 5 hours of screen time one day, then a day of 10 hours of screen time, and then another day of 5 hours of screen time. And then my friend came back, I gave him the password back, and I pretty quickly reverted to a version of screen time that's more similar to this first 6-ish weeks. And so yeah, that was really, really interesting. It's been really interesting. And so in conclusion, I want to continue thinking about how technology can serve me rather than me serving technology. And what that means is I want to continue thinking about how I can create systems, both software and kind of systems of people that create and maintain a relationship with technology that I think is healthy and beneficial for me. I want to thank everybody on these slides. This project would not have been possible without them. And then also, if you are interested in this project and want to reach out to me, or you're interested in my Chrome extension, you can scan the QR code, or reach out to me via email. The QR code may not work perfectly, but yeah, thank you very much.
We have time for one question from Milo. There'll be more time for questions at the end. How did you decide who you're going to employ?
Well, I decided on my friend Ben because other people said how are you going to prevent yourself from getting extorted by doing this? So Ben was also convenient because he's right next to me and he's in the center with me. So that's how I chose. But I wanted to maybe transition between different people over time, but that didn't end up happening.